Okay, so this is our wrapping up class. Welcome. I know it's just you so far, Juliana, but I hope you like it. If you have any questions at any moment, feel free to raise a hand and let me know if I'm going too fast, if I'm going too slow. I'm all ears. So in our material, we are going to cover a self-study guide that is designed to review and connect some points that during the course most of us needs to see because they are very important, like word patterns and some other very some people may find complicated, others may find easier, but the aim is just one, which is to get clarity, depth, and sophistication in the language used. So the first question we have is what is a word pattern and why it is important in learning English? The word pattern is like a combination of words. So we have some people may call it a idiomatic expression as well, but that's something is slightly different. If you consider, for example, make a decision, idiomatic expression, that wouldn't be very correct. But killing two birds with one stone, yes, that's idiomatic expression, and we have it in Portuguese as well. But these expressions, these word patterns, is like a combination of words, of group of words that they express a message. For example, make a decision or heavy rain. But there are some patterns that we follow to get to it. So, for example, here's a graphic that you can see all the possible combinations that you may get. So, for example, we have verb and preposition, adjective, preposition, lots of prepositions, but some of them are with nouns, verbs, and nouns. Others may go with an infinitive, with an adjective, or infinitive plus a noun. Or you could go with a gerund plus a verb or a noun. So let's take a look at some examples that we can see adjectives and prepositions, for example. Let me just refresh 1 second. So in the adjective and preposition plus preposition, we have word patterns such as good at, interested in, and responsible for. As you can see, we have good as an adjective and at as a preposition. The same goes for interested as an adjective and a preposition for in, and responsible for an adjective and for as a preposition. So we could go for many sentences. For example, I'm good at playing video games. Or what else can we give as an example? Could you create a sentence for us, Juliana?
Yeah, usually interested in horror books.
Good. Horror book, horror books are nice. It's been a while since I read one of them. And last but
I
not
just
least,
bought a bunch in BNL.
which one did you buy?
Dracula,
Like
picture of what was that?
the
Sorry,
portrait
let
of
me just
Dorian Gray.
yeah, the picture of Dorian Gray.
Okay.
I bought Hannibal. I can't remember the rest
Oh my
now.
God,
It
Manny.
was a bunch.
That's nice. I read Dracula in the past, but when I read it, I didn't like it so much. But I had to reread it when I went to university, and I find it interesting. I hope you like it.
If you hear chopping in the background, I have birds, and they are very jealous when I start talking with someone, so they start chirping to get my attention.
The next, we have adjective and infinitive. For those, we have difficult to, easy to, important to. As a teacher, I would probably say something like, oh, it is important to do your homework or study English every day or study English as much as you can. Can you create a sentence with the one of the other two?
I don't know. I don't have that much creativity. I'm gonna try. It's important to eat healthy.
Amazing example. All right, good. Moving on. We have a noun and preposition. So basically, we're getting all the kinds of group of words, or most of them, and we're joining to create a word pattern. In this one, we have a reason for, an interest in, a solution to. In this case, because we have this kind of combination, sometimes it may be a little bit harder, but you can get, for example, a solution to find it hard would be to read a little bit more.
Sure.
And next we have noun plus infinitive. In this one, you have a decision to make, an effort to learn, or a goal to achieve. You see, we have patterns. Like not only they are patterns themselves, but we can always see how they are put in a sentence. Probably we have also heard in music or in TV series and movies because they are, well, very useful. Moving to the other group of the graphic, we have a noun plus gerund, and in this one we have the process of learning, the habit of reading, the risk of losing. In the risk of losing my job, I am creating a sentence, but I know that's just a joke.
Yeah, I've always had a bit of a difficulty using the gerund. I tend to move away from that because I can never fit it in a sentence.
Hmm.
So, yeah, if you could like tell me more about it.
Yes, absolutely. So the thing is, when we learn at school and when we are beginning to learn English or even Portuguese, but in this case, because we are talking about English, let's focus on that. When we're learning, we discover that gerunds are when the situation is happening in the present, uh, or sometime is specific in the past. But in this case, it looks like a gerund, but it's actually a thing. How does that sound? Let's take a deeper look. So in this case of the risk of losing is a gerund because it has the ing, but it's working as a thing. So it's working as a noun, but we cannot put noun plus noun because that wouldn't make any sense. So in this case, if you put it together, that would be a verb in a gerund that is working as a noun. Don't know if it makes a lot of sense. But if you put, for example, the process of learning English may be hard for most students. So
I get
this
it.
this whole group, I think, this whole group of the process of learning looks like a big chunk of a noun. So if you take a deeper look, then we're going to see, oh, this looks like a verb, but it's working together with a group of nouns. But we cannot put noun plus noun. Does that make sense?
I think so. I think so. I can understand it, but in the day to day, I have a little bit of a difficulty with it
Mm-hmm.
still. But I'm trying to use it more. I don't know, to practice
Okay.
more with the
Mm-hmm.
gerund. So I'm getting there.
Okay. As long as we can practice, everything should be fine. But I get your point. Most students they that's not very clear. And let's face it, let's be honest, it's not something that we actually use in a day to day because we have some simpler things that pass the message. So why would we
Yeah,
risk using?
I realized the other day that I had a whole conversation because I work in a hospital that is like multinational, so we have a
Mm-hmm.
lot of Venezuelans, Bolivians in the hospital from the surgery team. So I have to speak English with a lot of them and a lot of patients.
Mm-hmm.
So I've come to realize that I can go a full conversation without using any gerunds. so it's been in the back of my mind for a while.
And it's probably gonna stay there until it's necessary. So don't worry about it. Moving to an easier one, we have a verb plus preposition. So in this one, we're getting a verb and we're putting together with a preposition. Looks a lot like a phrasal verb because it has a preposition in it. So depend on, believe in, and insist on. We have many others, such as give up. But in this case, that would be verb, preposition. That would be a phrasal verb. But believe in yourself, and probably the gerunds will come up easier. If you insist on insist on, it's an interesting combination. Because if you think about it, insist on may have a positive idea or may have a very bad idea. Because you're insisting on learning English may be a positive thing, or maybe something that people may see bad because it's insisting. So depending on the context, they have different outcomes. Verb and gerund. Here we are with the gerunds again. Avoid doing, enjoy reading, finish working. As soon as I finish working, I'm going to drink a cup of wine, a glass of wine.
As soon as I finish studying, I'm gonna take a shower.
That would be a very good idea too. We can also do the sentence of go swimming. But I wish I could go swimming this weekend. So that's a verb.
Oh, I wish for that too.
But it's gonna be cold and probably rainy. So help me out.
Well, I do prefer just go swimming when it's cold because I don't like how my skin gets in the sun.
Okay. Now that's
Yeah,
something different.
I burn too easily, so I it hurts, so
Uh,
I don't like it.
Sunblock.
Yeah, I can't use most sunblocks because I have an autoimmune dermatitis, so I have
Okay.
an allergy to a lot of things.
Okay, I
It
get
doesn't
it.
affect the appearance of my skin, but when I put on sunscreen, my skin burns. Like I feel a burning sensation, so I usually
Mm-hmm.
avoid the sun.
It's very sensitive.
Very vampire-esque.
Vampire, right? I understand why you like so much horror books now.
Yeah,
Maybe you're a vampire or you just don't know about it yet.
maybe my father has an aversion of garlic.
The next pattern that we have is a verb, noun, and preposition. So pay attention to, make use of, and take care of. That's very simple. So let's move on. I guess in this one, let me take a quick look. On we are currently on slide number 14. So that's fine. Focus on common patterns, practice with examples, identify patterns in text, and incorporate patterns in writing are are ways that you can basically practice and to get more familiar with the usage of the of those word patterns. So now I'm gonna show you one thing. So from the pages, so we have a lot of slides in this material, but some of them are destined to be homework. So I'm gonna show which ones are considered homework whenever we reach a slide like this. But I have a paper here. So I have the information on my other screen. So from the slide number 15 until the 25th one, that is a homework for you to practice. If you have any concerns or any questions, you can always send a message to the secretary, to the WhatsApp of the secretary, and the team will give the support that it's needed. Okay, so moving on. We're now going to dive into compound words. So in this ones, we have the groups of some, any. I'm pretty sure that you have heard the song that I want to dance with somebody, or you're somebody that I used to know. So this is the moment that that song makes sense, because in this one, we are taking a look at some and any. In case you don't remember exactly which one falls in which category, some we usually use for when when we have positive statements or offering or we're making a request. So, for example, if you get in a place and someone asks you, "Do you want some coffee?" So the person is probably making an offer or assuming that yes, you do want some coffee. Or if they're just saying something good. Oh, I have some fruit in my fridge. In case, in the other hand, on the other side of the same coin, in case you get in a place and someone asks, "Do you have any coffee?" I really want to know if there is an existence of coffee. I have no idea, so that's why I'm asking. But they also fall into the category of negative statements. So I don't have any time to deal with this right now. Or we could work on the conditional sentences. And those basically would be the uses of those two. Can you create any sentence using some for us?
Yeah, I kind of understand the use of them. My English teacher from like years ago used to say that some is interchangeable with a little, and any is interchangeable with is there at all.
Mm-hmm. That was amazing. I like that teacher.
Yeah.
That do you have a little yes. Oh my god, that was very good. Do you have a little do you have a, so, do you have coffee at all? Did
Yeah.
you get any sleep at all? Or did you sleep at all? Something like this. Yes. That's a that's those are good ways to remember.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any questions?
No question so far.
No questions so far. So far, so good. So in the sum for positive statements, we have sentences, examples here. I have some friends coming over tonight. She bought some apples at the market. There are some there are some milk in the fridge. And in the case of offers and requests, we have, would you like some coffee? Can I have some water, please? And could you lend me some money? So those two cases. And for the any, we have negative statements. This one looks like we have more, but they're simple. I don't have any friends coming tonight. You didn't find any apple in the market, and there isn't any milk in the fridge. So for the negative.
And I
For the
don't have any
question,
money to lend.
I don't have any money to lend. I don't have money at all.
I don't have money at all.
Do you have any free time this weekend? Will she practice any exercise tomorrow? That's a good question. I should ask myself. Will I practice any exercise tomorrow? I don't know. Have you learned any useful thing today?
Yes.
So I hope so. I hope I
Yeah.
learned something useful today too. And
Yeah.
conditional sentences, remembering we have four groups of conditionals where we have one, zero, one, two, three. In any of them, we could use the conditional sentences. So if you have any problems, let me know. If there are any updates, please inform us. And if you need any help, feel free to ask.
Right. What do you mean, like zero, one, two, three?
So we basically have four groups of conditionals. The conditional zero, the first conditional, second conditional, and third conditional. Nobody uses
Huh.
the third conditional. But the zero conditional would be, because the conditionals, as examples we have here, uh, it would be a cause and effect. So in this case here, for example, if you see there is a cause, there is an effect.
Right.
Conditional zero is composed by present present. So the cause will be present and the future and the cause will be present and the effect will be present. If you have any problem, let me know. So they are both in the present.
Okay.
Let's pretend the second sentence is in the second condition. The first conditional, sorry. The first conditional says it's one of them is present and the second part, the fact, will be future. So if you have any update, you will inform us.
Right. In the future.
So there is a present future.
Condition present and the fact future.
Yes. So there is always something that has to be true. So the other thing is.
So it's like
true.
mathematics with like a normal equation, first degree equation, second degree equation.
I'm very bad at math.
Yeah,
Remember,
I
I'm
think
an English teacher.
yeah. No, I think that's it. I think that's it. Because in math you can have it's like first degree you have one letter, second degree you have two letters, so it's like one variable, two variables, or three variables. I get it.
You get it. If that makes sense, I will
I
accept it.
get it.
But I didn't follow at all. Because the thing is,
Yeah.
we are in one case we're talking about math, which is very specific the way it should be, and in
Yeah.
this case we can mix match, not mix match like future past, but we can uh, change the order of the sentences.
Also, it doesn't necessarily needs to be condition in the present. The condition can be in the future, but the other one needs to be different.
Yes, yeah, they are still going to be what they are destined to be, like the condition, the cause and effect are still going to be cause and effect, but instead of being in the order cause and effect could be effect cause. So for example,
Right.
in this first sentence here, if you have any problems, let me know. I could start my sentence with let me know if you have any problems, but it's still
Sure.
there's still going to be cause and effect. It's not going to be uh, something different or in a different uh, structure like past and future in the same sentence.
Yeah, I think I get it.
You think you get it? Okay. I hope I didn't create more questions than answers now.
No, no, no. It's all right. You explained it very well.
Thank you. All right. Let's continue. So those are the conditional sentences. In this case here, they are all in the present. So probably they are more common to be all in the conditional zero, in the zero
Yeah.
conditional. But so it's not a problem. But it's all about using any. And here is an introduction for word patterns. So whenever we're talking about patterns, word patterns, we're basically working with three groups. The first one are the roots, so the things that will never change, and two other groups that will probably change. It doesn't mean that they are both going to be present, but it means that if you put it, you're changing the sentence. You're changing the word. So that's the use of what we are calling a word pattern. So the when we speak of roots, like in Portuguese, we have the same word. It's the core part. So it's going to be what will never change. It doesn't matter what you put before or after. It's going to be there. If you put both of them, the prefix and the suffix, the root will still be there because that's what's carrying the word.
Yeah, I
Uh,
work a lot with prefixes and suffixes in the medical terms. They are regimed by it. Prefixes and suffixes change everything.
Yes.
So
And sometimes they are very similar, because we may have a prefix that basically says the same thing, but if you take the same word, the same root, and put a different prefix, you have different meanings.
yeah,
Even though they are very similar, diving a little bit more into the message that you get from the word, you have a different idea. But then
yeah.
you have to critically think about what is the word to get to it. So for examples of prefixes that we have are on, res, this, and the suffixes we have able, shun, and meant. In this case here, if we are playing with the words, and if we take for unjacked, nobody says that. I don't even know if this word exists. I don't think so. But we can say reject or
Yeah, reject.
respect, but that doesn't change. That's not a suffix. That prefix. Well, we can create a rejection,
Injectable.
injectable. Take a look at some words. So here are the roots that we have so far. Jack, that means throw, meaning throw. So in the case of jack, a project to go forward, a reject to go backward or deny, and inject to throw into. Usually inject, we have something that you're injecting, like vaccine or drug,
Yeah.
and which are also, well. Now, for the second group, we have spec as a funny fact. In the UK, if you want to check your eyes to see if you need glasses, the name of one of the most famous companies that you go, I've been there because I lived in the UK for 5 years. So the name of the company is Spec Savers, which would be
Spectator.
the Spec Savers. So would be the company that takes care, that saves
Yeah.
your how you see things.
Óticas Carol.
Óticas Carol.
Yeah, I studied in the UK also.
That's nice.
But I was a kid. I was a kid. Like I studied there when I was 13, 14. I don't know.
So you went to primary school, secondary
Yeah.
school. So in the case
Primary.
of spec, primary. In the case of specs, we have inspect or respect or spectator, the one who looks. And for the root of mit, which means send, we have transmit, permit, and admit. Working with two screens sometimes is very confusing. And now working with the prefixes, we have un, re, and this. They are very similar, but in case of the un would be denying something. Re, we're trying to do it again, so redoing something. And this will be the opposite, or something like a similar to not. Disrespect, for example, would be the opposite of respecting. Redo, undo, they look similar, but redo would be doing it again. Undo would be reverse, to try to, like when you click in the arrow going back, you undoing something.
Yeah. Rewinding.
Rewinding. Rewinding is something that we don't do nowadays. It's just like this is 290.
Nah, I use rewind every day. I say like I don't say stop. I don't use like stop because people think it's rude. And in the hospital you have to be like very civil. So I say, can you rewind? Sorry.
That's cute. I usually ask my students to say that again. I'm saying, could you say that again? And then they
Yeah, but I've been called out because I asked like I asked a surgeon. It was a neurosurgeon. I was like, can you say that again? And he thought I was rude, so I had to change it.
that's not rude. He
Yeah,
was just too
surgeons
full of
are the
himself.
worst. Surgeons are the worst.
I know I have some of my on my family, and sometimes they are like, come on. I'm not being rude. I'm just asking you to repeat.
Yeah,
But it's fine. So rewind is it's something that you incorporate in your vocabulary. That's nice. I probably should do that too.
yeah.
Moving on, we reach the group of suffixes able, meant, and shown. Usually, able is something that it shows an ability, something that you are capable of. Meant as a process of something that is going, ongoing, or a point that you reached. And shown would be the action itself. So, for example, we have a celebration. So, if we have a celebration, it's something that we are celebrating. Or if you're capable of doing something, it could be manageable. And last but not least, for the speaking of process, I don't know if you like games, but nowadays it's very common to see the word achievement because
Yeah, like game.
most consoles they put the system of achievement, so you feel like you have extra challenges, not only the game itself, but you have the achievement.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you have any words, or would you like to say anything?
I don't know. I never thought of shun and meant being suffixes. I didn't make the connection in my head. So when you start showing this slide, I was like, yeah, like it clicked. But before
Because
that, I never made the connection.
But you know something that is very funny? It's because we teachers, we see those things, we study those things, and we are comfortable with them, and we need to teach. But the students, they do not really pay attention because they, use the language for other purposes.
Yeah.
Uh, we also use for other purposes, but because we teach them, we see things differently. One of the things that I do in my classes, I usually avoid using jargon. So, for example, it's almost impossible to not say suffix because what would I say? What would I call? The end of the word? But isn't that a suffix? That would be the same thing. Well, for example, some people may not know what is a verb. So I try not to say the word verb or an adverb. I try to say, oh, it's the action of the sentence. Instead of using the word pronoun, I would go for the word who's the person of the sentence. So I usually ask those things and people usually they are able to identify those things in the sentence, which helps because they don't feel like, oh my god, I'm studying a lot of grammar. No, I want them to understand what they are seeing. So when you tell me, oh, I've never thought about Sean meant in as a suffix, yes,
Yeah.
we don't really pay attention to that because we see celebration and we just think about, yes, raise my cup, where's my drink.
I'm so sorry. My bird is cat calling you.
Your bird is
Did you
is,
hear
is
him?
I
Did
heard
you
I
hear
heard
him?
something.
He goes.
That's nice. Okay.
Yeah, but I understand that you kind of have to adapt your language for better understanding. I can get that. I'm not the best at it, but I can understand.
Okay. So moving on, what we have now is the rejection. So in this case, for example, we have re, so something that goes again, reject as the act of throwing, and shun as the action. So what we have is the action of throwing something again or back. But we never work this way. So we just see rejection as something someone says no. But we don't like what you said. Oh, I never thought about as shun as a suffix. Because we
Yeah.
get the idea. We get the, oh, this is the action of saying, throwing something back and doing again. Usually a rejection comes with, oh, you can redo, or sometimes it's not possible. But
Yeah, like every act has a consequence. Like when you reject something, I understand what you mean, like throwback, because you cannot uh, throw what you didn't receive, so it's like back.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think I get it. Did I get it?
I think you did. It's very funny that you asked me if you got it, but I think you did. Because the act of rejection, as in refusal, because throwing back, nobody uses jack as a word, but understanding the root of the word and understanding that, oh, it's refusing something. Imagine you giving me some, you're throwing something, and then I say no. Then it's like it goes back
Block.
or it's blocked. It works like this to help visualize. And in the case of the about seeing things in the specs, you have the action of seeing something inside,
Yeah.
something in. So it's an examination, which is another word that contains a shun inside.
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
look
Examining.
in. Uh, Nobody uses words like section. So sometimes we need a prefix and a suffix to make it work. A curiosity fact, there is a song that has the word. I'm gonna put it in the chat. So the word is restlessness.
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 Oh, the one I like the most is ruthlessness. There's a song
Ruthlessness.
called Ruthlessness. I've had, yeah, since I've heard this word for the first time, it's been my my favorite word. Sorry, it's been my favorite word.
It's and it's interesting because I didn't hear this one, but because I understand the idea of restlessness, in restlessness, because I know that in this case here, in this material, we unfortunately don't have the last, which be the absence of something, and that, which be the presence of the making something real, which is almost contradiction, a paradox. But if you think of rest and restless, oh, I don't have much, I didn't rest much. And then I put as a thing, then I say that I have insomnia or that I'm too agitated. So that would
Yeah.
be restless. And the same thing would be restlessness because you're rough and then, oh no, you're not rough. And that's the thing. It's like, oh, you're probably something like, oh, too soft.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's showing an idea that it cannot be, oh my God, I'm overthinking about the word. Let's move on.
No, but you're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. I do that sometimes as well. I like to think of the etymology of the words so I can better use them. But I get caught on thinking a lot about the same word for a long time. This week, I've had the word rhabdomyolysis in my head, and I'm not saying it even correctly, but I've had the word in my head because it sounds funny. So ruthlessness has been my favorite word because at first it sounded very funny, but someone said I was ruthless at work, so that's how it caught on.
But I almost fell into that trap of overthinking about the words. I was like, no, this says that, and this. If you put this, and then you're, you know those fiction movies and series that there is someone that is obsessed and put red line
Yeah,
yarn
yeah,
and trying to make connections.
yeah,
I felt like I was doing it. I was playing with the words, and we can do it with
yeah. Do that.
any word because this is addictive. I try to control myself because sometimes my students feel like, oh my God, you're too excited about it. I'm like, yeah, let's think about the
Yeah,
message, which is
I get,
another thing that I like a lot.
I get it. I get it so much. I get very excited about the simplest things.
And for this one, we have knit that we understood as send and trans n- as not as a cross of is about
Mhm.
moving, sending something that is going through a specific place or time or whatever. So we're sending a message. We're sending across or to convey, which is similar to pass a message. All right. So looking again at my table here for the 36 until the number, is that right? 36? No, that's 37. So 37 is an extra class. So it's a suggestion of activity that you guys, the students, can do afterwards, which means they're going to 38. We have another content. So let's take a look at that. So in this one would be, what is a past participle? Can you give an example?
I cannot.
I cannot. Okay, let's take a look at
That's
that.
too specific. That's specific.
That is specific. Is it
Yeah,
specific?
yeah. Past participle. I mean, I don't even know what that is in Portuguese.
Participe passado. Oh,
Passado
what?
perfeito.
So and that would be the past perfect that we use the past participle. So the thing is, what we are taking a look here is the past participle. Remember when we are studying verbs and we see go as a present, went as a past, and then gone. So this gone would be the past participle. In Portuguese, we say ido, ado, eito.
Yeah.
So that kind of that some words nobody knows how to use and they just say whatever they want to say. So because this is an English class, let's focus on that. So thinking about how do you form a past participle of regular verbs? And what about the irregular verbs? So
Do you want an example of a regular verb?
for a regular verb, we have, for example, arrive, arrived, arrived, because they're regular.
Yes, regular.
I could go for a tricky one. Cut, cut, cut. So that's an exception that
Yeah.
nothing
Cut,
changes.
cut, cut. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Or the one I just said, go, went, gone. So this is an example of a past participle.
Let's
So
take
an
it
introduction
slow.
for the, say that again, sorry.
Let's take it slow.
Okay, I will slow down now. Sorry about that. So in the past participle of a verb, we use for the perfect tenses, passive voice and adjective as adjective. So in this case of the regular verbs, remember regular verb, the rule is just to add the ed in the end. So in the case of walked, 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 played, played. So the past participle would be pretty much the same because remember they're regular, so nothing changes. In the case of the irregular verbs, however, they are different. They have their unique form. Like the irregular verbs, they all play however they want. Like if they were people, they would be
Like
very
sing,
individual.
sang, sung.
Sing, sang, sung, drink, drank, drunk, see, saw, sing.
Yes.
In this case here, we have take, took, taken. So that would be the past participle of take. Write, wrote, written.
Hmm.
Let's take a look at some sentences. So in the case of the present, the perfect tenses, here's the present perfect. So in the present perfect, I always use the same the same explanation. Let's imagine my arm is a timeline. Here's the present, and going back here would be the past. So for the present perfect, we have the situation that started sometime in the past. I don't know when, but it's going on to finishing the present. So when we get to the present, the situation is over. So we're always going to have a mark that something is finished. So it's over, but it's finished now. So it's finished in the recent present. And for that structure, we're always going to have the mark of present. In this case of the mark of present, we have, and for the verb, we're going to have the past participle. In the case, in this case here, because finish is a regular verb, it's going to be finished. So she has finished her homework.
Mm-hmm.
Or in Portuguese, this sentence would be ela tem terminado o dever de casa dela.
Hmm.
For the passive voice, the sentence goes into a different place. Because for this example, what we have is the cake was eaten by the children.
Hmm.
So we have the person who suffered the action itself, and
Mm-hmm.
what we can say it's the optional part, the doer of the action. In the active voice, the sentence would be the children ate the cake.
Right.
Why?
So,
Was that a why?
so in this case, no, it wasn't a why. It was right. So in this case, in the passive voice, the action takes place before the subject.
No,
In a sense, I mean,
so the
like
the
in the
purpose of
structure
the
of the.
passive the purpose of the passive voice, we always um, put a spotlight on whoever suffered the action, or sometimes the action itself. Will never
Okay.
be who does the action. That's why I said by the children can be optional, because in most cases it is optional.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Like in
So
the
why would
passive voice, you're trying to explain some. I mean, how I understand it, you're trying to explain something by taking off the blame from the one who did the action.
yes, yes. Or you hiding, or you don't know, or you want to
You're
omit it,
minimizing.
minimize the blame, the burden. Yes, yes. That's the purpose of a passive voice. That's why many newspapers use passive voice. Sometimes they are hiding information through passive voice, and they are like pretending they are telling. Like the wallet was stolen. Who stole the wallet? I don't know. Did someone lose the wallet? I don't know. I just know it was lost. That's the information I have.
Right,
Any
I get
questions?
it.
You get it? Good. Any questions?
No question.
Okay, and for the adjective, the broken vase was expensive.
Right.
All right. So just as a summary, we have here the present perfect to describe actions completed at some indefinite time in the past. For the past perfect, the only difference between the present perfect and the past perfect would be the present use have a had and the past use had, but the past participle would remain the same. But the difference between the meaning is that the past participle, the past perfect, you're going to use to describe an action that was completed before another action happened in the past. So it's like a past pastor, a pastor past, no pastor past, like something that it's older that happened, and then you see something happening that happened in the past. And then there is future perfect that nobody uses. In the future perfect, you have will plus have and past participle, and you use that to describe actions that will be completed before a specific point in the future, like a future, future, future.
I get it.
But nobody uses that. That's one of the 12 that nobody. Okay, I learned it, but that's fine. I talk about the future, and then
Now
we
I
talk
will
about
make it
future.
my mission to use it every day.
Okay, do it. Go get it.
I will bring it back.
For the number 42. Okay, so we still have some other ones. For this one, what we have in the when and why for the passive voice emphasizes the action, like I said before. So we are talking about what happened and who was and the recipient of the action instead of the doer. So we're talking about the structure B plus as possible. The book was written by Clarice Lispector. So it's used to emphasize the action and the who who received, who suffered. I never use the the terminology recipient because
Yeah.
I always think we have a doer and someone who suffered the action of the doer. But I know the word suffer has a negative connotation, so I understand that recipient probably neutral in some way.
Yeah.
Am I going too fast?
No, it's okay. It's okay.
For so
You're
the
funny though.
oh, thank you. Um,
Yeah.
for the past participle can function as an adjective describing nouns and providing more information about them using they using they using them as an adjective as adjectives adds detail and specific descriptions, enhancing richness and clarity. So for example, the broken window needs to be fixed. So this is qualifying this specifically.
Right.
Is that an exercise? Should I skip this one? What 38? 51. No. Okay. So in this case, we have, can you list the past participle of with these verbs, with this pattern, sorry. So we have base form, N or N ending, T ending, the ones that doesn't change, the vowel changes, and the GHT ending. I think the one that students remember first is this one. But the rest,
GH.
they GHT.
That's the one they remember first?
Because they think about bot, dot, thought first.
Oh. Oh, I didn't even think of that.
Because they want to say, oh, I think this is nice. And then they want to say that in the past. And then they go for that one. But we also have one, which is a very common one for beginners. So here's the base. base verb plus
Can I
ed.
screenshot it?
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
Like the previous page?
Oh, sorry. This one?
Yeah. Sorry. Wait. Just a second. Sure. Go on.
Can I?
Sorry.
Do you want to screenshot this one too?
Yeah. Sorry. Done.
So for this one, well, we have uh, base form of the verb, and in case they're all regular, so we have open, watch, play, clean, visit, talk, and close, which are very common, especially when we are beginning to learn the verbs in the past, and those are the past participle of irregular verbs. So, for example, eat would be eaten, write, written, take, taken, drive, driven, speak, spoken, break, broken, fall, and fallen. I remember that when I was learning irregular verbs in the past, I struggled with feel and fall. I kept swapping them.
Feel.
Just feel as in feeling.
No, yeah.
So
No, no.
I oh, it was three actually. So you feel,
Yeah. Feel, fill, and fall.
so, but the feel with feel of feeling something to feel that. Oh my God, too many F, too many L's. But it's the feel felt, and then I thought the fall fell, but fell. Why isn't fell the past of feel? And oh my God, I kept
I
asking
think
myself.
I learned the words before learning the rules, so I already knew them. It was harder for me to connect the rule to the word than the word to the rule
Hmm.
because I learned it too young. So when you're learning young, they don't go through the rules; they go to the
Hmm.
words first.
Hmm.
Yeah, that was
And
something.
then it's you just apply the word. That makes some sense. That makes it is likely easier too.
Yeah, for me it was.
So here are some other examples because we have too many things to take a look. I'll just take a. If you do, you want to take a screenshot of this one too?
Yeah, yeah,
Let me
I've done it.
let
Your
me know
face is in the
whenever.
background of all my screenshots. Cute.
And here's another one, the ones that end with an N.
Done.
And last but not least, the GAT,
The hard ones.
the hard
Those are
one.
the ones that get me every time. Thought, true, throughout. Uh,
Ah, yes, yes. Oh my God, those are amazing.
they get me every time.
Though, though, thoughts, thoughts,
Yeah.
but. I think there's a tongue twist for that. Don't remember what was it. So here's the one that the vowel changes, like hing, hang, hung, spring, spring, sprung, keep, sat, sat, sing, sang, stunk, ring, rang, rung. Can I?
Yeah.
And the one that doesn't change, easy. Put, tat, shut.
La la la.
All right, here's the time for practice. I believe 52 is the one that we put as a homework. And now we jump to number 59. So from 52 to 58, we have a lot of exercises for practicing, which means that now we can take a look at passive voice. So like we were saying before, passive voice is trying to focus on something else other than the person who is doing the action in the sentence. So the sentence, for example, let's be like I'll just read the example here really quick. The teacher explains the lesson, and the lesson is explained by the teacher. So how do we know who is doing the action? In the end of the sentence, usually we have it, but sometimes it's just omitted. So what we basically happens, we have a cross. So the one that is in the beginning goes to the end, and the one that is in the end goes to the beginning. And
Yeah,
we have a go on,
sorry.
go for it,
I
go for
use
it.
it a lot for explaining. Sometimes my CNAs, like nursing assistants, they do something wrong and I have to take off the blame from them. So I'm like, no, the team has always been blah blah blah. So I use a lot of passive voice
Mm-hmm.
and I should study it a bit more so I can pacify better.
Okay.
So I don't
But
know. Do you have
if
any?
you're saying something, if you're saying something like the team has been saying, that
Yeah,
wouldn't be
no. I use
passive voice.
some some phrases that I use a lot is the medication was administered,
Okay. Oh
and
yes,
I don't
that's
say
passive
by
voice.
whom. Sometimes I say the BP was registered, like very vague. I
Mm-hmm.
usually don't say who did the action, so I try to focus more on the action itself than the person who did it. But I'm still trying to accommodate some into my day to day.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
We are here. Can I mark this? No, I can't. Okay, it's in here. So the passive voice is very, it looks very complicated, but if you think about it as being as something you're trying to focus on something else. So if there is a mistake, for example, from a nurse, like you said, they are not going to suffer a lot. It doesn't sound like you're putting the blame on them.
Yeah.
So that's the purpose. Uh, well, sometimes you just don't know who did the action, who did the mistake. So it's like the medication yeah, was prescribed incorrectly. Who did it? I
Yeah.
don't know. We need we need to find out just to let the person know. Don't do it again. But sometimes, if you're obsessed with trying to find who made the mistake, you may have another problem. I had a boss
Yeah,
like
no,
this.
the thing is to shift the blame a little bit because the patient and family want there to be a blame on someone, and sometimes just there isn't someone to blame. They're just
Mm-hmm.
it's just the situation, you know. So we have to shift it a little bit, like shift the focus, just
Mm-hmm.
knowing that the situation was resolved and taking off the blame. So
That's a good strategy, and that's a good use of passive voice as well. So if you can do it even in Portuguese, you're probably going to be doing that in English as well. So comparing the two of them, we have in one side the active voice, and the other one we have the passive voice. So in the active voice, we have Brazilian scientists developed the first practical Zika virus vaccine. Brazilian filmmakers produced the award-winning Bacurau in 2019, which gained international acclaim from this unique storytelling. So now passing the first one to the passive voice, we have the first practical Zika virus vaccine was developed by Brazilian scientists. So we're switching the verb tense a little bit. So it is applied. The whoever is suffering comes first, and the Brazilian scientists who are the doer are going to be the in the end. after the by. The award-winning movie Bacurau was produced, we introduced the word to mark that something was done by the Brazilian filmmakers. Da, da, da. The rest here, as you can see, it is not marked because it didn't change. So this
Yes.
could be in the end because it's just extra information. But obviously, we need some adapting. In the active voice, we have the presence of which. In this one, we don't have it. But we have a gerund here. As you said before, that you sometimes struggle with a gerund. In this case here, we have a presence of it. That would be the answer of that exercise. Main rules of usage. Should I read that? 62 and 262. Okay. Okay, so the main rules of usage, it is formed as sorry, too fast. It is formed by using the form of verb to be and the past participle of the main verb. When the doer is unknown or unimportant, or you know, but you choose to hide it, that's an extra information that you could put it.
Yeah.
When the speaker wants to be vague or formal, it's interesting that formality sometimes is together with vagueness.
Yes.
Like you choose on purpose to be vague so that people feel like, okay, you're passing me the message, but are you passing the full message? I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I
it's
need.
like you take your own emotions out of the context,
Hmm.
so it's more formal.
And when they focus on the action itself, so it's what you want people to take a look, the action. When emphasizing the receiver of the action, like I said before, you're putting a spotlight on it. So who received the action is getting the proper attention.
Hmm.
In scientific or technical writing, or to soften requests or instructions. Be careful with instructions and passive voice. Because we're giving instructions, it has to be direct, straight to the point. So it has to be, oh, twist this, turn that, move this, touch that. Okay, fine. Everything is straight to the point. If you're being like we said before, too vague, the instructions are unclear. People will make mistakes.
Yeah.
But you may find passive voice inside the instructions. So the next part that will be exercises. So for this bit, from the number, from the pages 63, or is it 63 until the 77, it's a group of exercises and practice for passive voice. And for the next one, we have reported speech. Do you like gossiping, Juliana?
I didn't understand the question.
Do you like gossiping?
Gossip? Yeah, a little.
So that's very funny because that's how I start teaching reported speech to my learners. I tell them, so reported speech is nothing less than a gossip. So you have a message, someone tells you, and you're telling that message to another person. So that's reported speech. In the end of the day, you're a big gossiper and you're reporting the message. We have basically three ways to do it.
Transmitter. Transmitter.
So you're
Not gossip.
transmitter, not gossiper. You're a transmitter.
Yeah.
So in this case, we have three ways to convey this information. The first one is by using the word said. So that could be uh, between quotation marks. So we have aspas. Those are the quotation marks. So Carlos says the project deadline has been extended. So you're passing this message and you're saying, Carla mentioned that the project deadline has been extended. Or you could just put that here. It's not a problem. So you could say, Carla said that the project deadline has been extended. Remember, in this case here, it's a present that falls into the past. So you're always passing the message as something has already gone, has already passed, because it's a gossip. So the situation is in the past and you're just transmitting that. Then you have the other one would be so this is how we make it direct and indirect. So I'm sorry if Mark said, I'm sorry. And Mark apologized. That would be considered indirect. The other two ones, when so said, there's just said. So there are basically two ones left. The other one is tell, so it would be told. So whenever you have two people, so you say, fulaninho told Beltraninho. So you have two people and the told, because you have the person who said to another person. So fulaninho told me the deadline had been extended.
Right.
So that would be the second case. So the first one, you just say, fulaninho said. The second one, fulaninho told Beltraninho that, da. And the last one would be the case of asking. It's not here, but the last one would be the case of asking. So whenever you have a question, you say, so someone asks you and you go for, fulaninho asked if I was okay. So that's an indirect question. So you're reporting everything.
Okay. You're just telling. I get it. I use it a lot.
We
gossip
do.
a lot. I have a Venezuelan friend. We like to gossip a lot in the hospital. Chisme. She calls it chisme.
But we have some other words that you can also use in reported speech. They all have their own idea, such as explain, state, share, express, and recount. Recount as retell the story. Express to show, sometimes it's related to feeling. Share is related to experiences. The state could also be like a statement as a fact, or state that something is not right. Could be a feeling too. And explain goes for more like a or how you should do something as a procedure. So it's easy, your procedure. But you could also use say, tell, and ask in case it's necessary. Any questions?
No, I'm doing great.
Okay, good.
Sorry,
Uh,
I'm a bit silent right now, but I'm understanding everything. I'm just paying
okay,
more attention.
that's okay. It's all right. And some other words that you can also use: notify, confirm, inform, advise, and announce. For notify, that sounds like you're letting someone know about something. Confirming, it's based on a previous information. Inform, it's based that the other person didn't have the information at all. So you could have confirmation and inform. So confirm and inform in similar scenarios. Advise sounds like you're giving, someone is giving a suggestion about something. And the noun works similarly to inform, but information is more like uh, you're telling some kind of information, while announcement sounds official. That's why here it says that CEO announced. Like, we have an announcement to make. The hospital is closing, and there
It
you
would
have.
be a dream. You would be a dream. Preach, Lord, preach.
All right, so that would be the reported speech with some exercises and information rules. So from the pages 88 to 94, you have some other exercises. Let me skip to the last part. So this would be the last part of the exercises to practice the reported speech and everything we have seen in this material, which means that we reached the end of our material. I hope you
Ah,
liked it.
I did. I did. I enjoyed it a lot.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. You're funny. You're good to talk to.
Thank you. I try. I try my best. I usually run my classes like this, so it doesn't feel like oh my god, I need to go to the class again. So I used to be that person going for classes that didn't want to go. So based on my experience, I I try it not to make as a joker, but to run smoothly.
No, I don't mean that you make a lot of jokes. I think that the way you act makes you look like a funny person. Like you're. I don't have a better adjective than funny.
That's fine.
Um.
I'll accept it. I'll accept it not as a joke maker, but making it fun, something
Yes.
good.
Yes.
It's all right. Right. Thank you so much for today and for your
Yeah.
time
I've learned a
and your
lot.
presence. And I hope you get something that we have seen here onto the the gossips from the hospital.
Talking about gossip, Anna came on like for a second.
Yes,
Just
she entered here. Let me stop the recording.